This is downtown Alice Springs. This is one of those cool little novelty signs that they have just at one of the parks there. There's some cafes around, there's some shops, and people were just sitting on rugs and chatting and having lunch and whatnot. Really cool, actually. And further up the road, we just went up to a little monument, which is the gravesite for Flynn, who was the start of the Royal Flying Doctors Service. That first boulder has been replaced as this is a second boulder. It's been replaced as the first one had cultural significance for the Indigenous women. And there's a little bit about that on this plaque, as well as how he started it up. It's just the McDonald Range, not just the McDonald's Ranges, it's McDonald's Ranges, and it's absolutely beautiful. I can't believe everywhere you look, the different colours in the hills. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just goes for so far. It's probably, I don't know how far, but there's lots of different ranges, and as Caro said there, the colours change, the vegetation changes, the rocks change, but it really is quite amazing. Yeah, it's well worth the effort.
We went down to a gorge where
don't do it.
There should have been a creek or a river, and there wasn't. If you look closely, you can see us here, but it shows how insignificant we are in the world. And see how tiny Josh looks amongst all those boulders. You know, it really is incredible. And here's a older white man in his natural habitat, and also natural looking photo of father and son. You know, no play acting there at all. This makes me a little bit giddy, but if you look really closely, you realise when I've realised I'm being filmed, I wiggle my butt, but it goes so fast you can't see it.
It's a pretty fast wiggle.
That's just the walk in and out of that Jessie's Gap. What was that one? Emily's Gap, I think that one might have been. Lots of monuments around. It's quite an educational thing, and to be honest, look, I can't blame them for this graffiti. They're changing them into the Aboriginal names. So I don't really have an explanation for this, but I guess it's a one way to measure how much your beard's grown. And this is up at Anzac Hill. It's really another educational one, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of monuments to all the wars that the Australians have fought in over the years, and great view over the city as well of Alice Springs.
Yeah, just beautiful. This one was at Jessie's Gap, so the other one was Emily's Gap. This is Jessie's Gap. I don't know what the Aboriginal names for them are. They didn't really let us know. But again, you just cannot really understand how beautiful the scenery is. I don't know if someone was living there or whether that just landed that way from the recent floods, but we'll never know. That's a, wild creature in their natural habitat, and there's two more.
Totally wild.
Totally wild. Lots of educational stuff going on. Can't help but stop and read it because it's really quite interesting. Oh yes, there's the Aboriginal name for Jessie's Gap. There we go. Lots of stories about caterpillars and so forth and how they were formed as well. We were just constantly amazed at these little trees or bushes that would just grow out of the face of the rock, weren't we?
It's crazy. They're stuck in the middle of nowhere, no ground, no nothing, it's just there.
Yeah. And apparently these are some of the foods of the trees around the area. So this is the Corroboree Rock.
Corroboree Rock.
And it got skinny. Why did it get skinny, Josh?
Well, look, I could probably say something probably inappropriate and culturally unethical, but I'm just going to say that's the way the rock was made.
Right, okay. So it's a little bit wider on one face, and then when you come around the side on this walk, it's a bit skinny. But here we go, walkies down this track. Supposed to take 15 minutes.
We've got to aim to do it in about 12.
It's a personal challenge.
That's your step.
Watch the step. All right. Crikeys. Okay, so you can see Josh is wearing really good hiking boots and I have sand shoes. So from one extreme to the other. And we've come across to a dry creek. Every creek, every river has been dry. It'd be really cool to see in wet season though.
It'd actually be really spectacular to see some of these dry creek and riverbeds in full flow. Just the way they're laid out and the water cascading around the rocks and around the trees, and you know, in a setting like this, it'd just be really cool.
I agree. That's the same rock, just looks different from this angle. So this is the same rock, just around the other side, and there's little gaps and holes. I don't know if you can see them, but through the rock.
Photos just don't do it justice. You just got to see it, guys. It's really spectacular. And spin around and have a look at the other thing.
Yeah, it's just doesn't show up on video, but we all know that with photos and videos, it doesn't kind of show up how beautiful it really is.
If you're from Victoria, it's a little bit like the Grampians, this area. Different sort of rock and ground, but just the shape of the mountains and how they're formed is probably very similar to the Grampians.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very nice.
So I don't know why Josh has this thing about pointing to stuff in a photo, but he does like to do that. And this is a bit of info about how the rock was formed, so you can pause that if you want to and have a read. But then we were off to Yulara. So this is us on the road. How long was it?
About 450 k's from Dad's.
Yeah, from Alice Springs. Lots of people think that is Ayers Rock or Uluru, but it is not, but it's a pretty cool rock anyway. This is just the landscape and it's insane. And again, you cannot get a full vibe of it on the video, but to just see that plateaued rock and there's just sticking up out of the middle of nowhere, it's just so incredible. And
Not
heading
sure what
on,
that is.
yeah, we don't know. It's like the gates to the area, I guess. And more signs. You know us. We're going to take photos of signs.
Where are we going?
Uluru!
Staying at Yulara first.
We are staying at Yulara. This is pretty cool, this campsite, not going to lie. I really quite like it. And we're actually within the Ayers Rock Resort, not staying in the townhouses, but we're actually staying at the campground. But we've got amenities here, showers and toilets, and we've got quite large blocks, which is really nice. And there's walks off everywhere. You can go for walks as long as you stick to the path.
Got a camel.
That's a camel, but he's not real, but he's kind of cute. And this is just our little setup. But then we went for a drive up to Uluru itself. And then we stopped on the side of the road to take that photo thinking, wow, it's big. And again with that one, it's like, oh, crikeys, it's so big. But it's massive. And you cannot understand it until you're there. And I'm probably one of the last people in the world to actually go to Uluru. Well, last people in Australia anyway. When was the last time you were here? 38 years ago?
Yeah, 1986.
Yeah, so that was a long time ago. So
hasn't changed.
36 years ago. But you just get closer and closer. Obviously not allowed to climb it anymore. I wouldn't anyway. It's too blooming steep.
It's crazy steep.
Yeah.
And it's just massive. It's just spectacular. It really is.
Yeah.
I keep saying it.
But there are sections where you can walk almost underneath it, which is pretty cool. So where are we?
Yeah, Uluru. Don't believe me? Have a look at that.
Look at this. This is insane. It just does not give the complete scale on video.
It's not even the top just there. It's just...
Yeah. Yeah, that's not even the highest point. To give you an idea, let's see if I can zoom in. See this little silver tree right there? That's about 15 foot tall. So this is crazy. Let's see if I can zoom in on those people. Where'd they go? There you go. See those little people walking? Tiny little Lego people, right? It just gives you an idea of how big this is. And we might be the last people in Australia to actually come here. Well, I might be the last people. Josh has been here before, 38 years ago or something, but this just blows my mind. It's pretty cool, isn't it? We decided to come back in the morning and have a bit of a walk around, and so the morning cloud just kind of stuck to the end, didn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so it's a 10.6 kilometre walk, which we did. It was great. Took
just over 2 hours.
Yeah, just over 2 hours. We had pitter patter of rain, so we were hoping that we would actually see some of the rain. You're not to take photos in certain areas. In certain areas you can touch the rock. But yeah, if there's a cultural significance in a lot of the areas, and so they ask you not to take photos between the signs and things like that, so we respected their wishes. But you can see how there's that silvery black running down the rock there, the rock face, and we were hoping that some of the pittery-pattery rain we'd had last night was still flowing. And we did see a little bit. There's a photo or a video further on where we did see a little bit of it, but we were thankful that the clouds cleared and we had a blue sky, and yeah, it was a really enjoyable walk. I was really surprised there was no flies.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually.
Yeah, some of it's got the little boardwalk section like this, and other sections it's just on the dirt. And there are sections where you can touch it, and of course sections where they ask you not to. This is that little puddle at the bottom of you can see the water running down at the bottom of that little waterfall there. Would have been nice to have seen it sort of cascading over like a waterfall, but wasn't to be. And we were lucky that we got the day that we did anyway. Lots of signs around giving you education, lots of little stop places. We stopped there and had half a sandwich. And then, yeah, I was looking for rock wallabies and all sorts of creatures inside the caves, but no such luck today.
No, the only things we saw were birds.
Yeah.
Lots of birds.
Lots of birds, lots of little zebra finches, lots of big birds like hawks and whatnot flying right up high in the sky. But other than that, then we were back on the road and we were heading over to what they used to call the Olgas, which is now called Kata Tjuta. Kata Tjuta. And so they are just an amazing formation of domes. I don't know why this doesn't get the recognition that Uluru gets, because in a way I thought it was better. But lots and lots of domes to see there too. We are at the end of the gorge walk at Tjuta National Park. Huge rock structures. They're doing a little bit of work just here, trying to create some more stable paths for people, but most of it you're just walking on the rocks themselves. It's just amazing. I think this is more spectacular than Uluru. Maybe because you can just get up close and personal a little bit more. This is what they've got at the end for old people like us to sit down, have a bit of a rest, and then that's through to the actual gaff. Absolutely spectacular. From our campground there's a short walk, but avert your eyes, children, because not only do you get to see Uluru, but you're going to see a sexy kiss in a minute. So nice short walk to the top of a hill, and yeah, it's basically behind us from where we're camping.
You can actually see Kata
Tjuta, yeah,
as well.
And then we had to soak our feet in the pool and we got back. Oh my gosh, they were so sore after a walk. And this is the only wildlife we've really seen. Pigeon. It's a bit sad, really.
Saw a mouse.
Oh, yes, Josh has seen a mouse. I have not. I've only seen these pigeons and some zebra finches around, and then some birds high up in the sky. But it has been an absolute blast, hasn't it?
Loved it every minute.